Buenas tardes y bienvenidos a todos. Good afternoon and welcome everyone. Welcome to a community dedicated to providing spiritual tools for living a happy and full life. My name is Karina Shear, and I am the Spiritual Director and Founding Minister here at the Center for Spiritual Living Puerto Vallarta. If you would like to join us live for the Zoom meeting, please contact me for the link and the password. Today is Sunday, July 10th, 2022. And we are continuing with our annual theme, which is Living Everyday Wonder. The topic for this month of July is relationships. And the topic for this week is You and I Are We. We open each week with a spiritual practice called affirmative prayer, also known as spiritual mind treatment. And this is a powerful tool and a practical tool that shifts our consciousness so that we are open and available to accept the good that is already present in our life. It aligns our thoughts with all good. So let's move into today's service with intention, as we do each week, with a reading from the Creative Thought magazine. And today I'll be reading from July 6, 2014. Once again, I'll remind you that spiritual mind treatment is always done in the first person. So I invite you to close your eyes and take these words as your own, if you so choose. God is love and life. God, the source of all, is the active presence throughout its creation. I am a child of God. Divine love is in and through me always. I am an expression of divine love. In my mind, heart, and soul, I am whole, complete, and pure. My body is a reflection of my faith in that wholeness. The underlying unity in everyone and everything is love. Every day I meditate on God's love. I know God's divine love upholds and supports me. I nurture that love and realize I am continuously enlarging my understanding. I feel and express love. I see as God sees. In every face I observe, I see divine love looking back at me. I perceive the harmonious wholeness in every situation. I exhibit love in every conversation. Kindness guides my action. With my loving heart, I express God's goodness. I disseminate God's love as I walk through time and space. I am so grateful that I live in and experience divine love. I release my word to the law of mind and let it be so. And so it is. And that was originally submitted by Nancy Townsend, a licensed practitioner in Palm Desert, California. And as we do each week, let's together review our purpose, vision, and mission statements. We have a grand purpose here each week, and that is to awaken and celebrate diversity and to love and serve our community. And we do this by means of our vision, which is to educate and support each other so we can create the life we desire that works for us right now. And this is further supported by our mission, which is to provide spiritual tools for personal growth and transformation. And once again, I welcome everyone. Here at the Center for Spiritual Living Puerto Vallarta, we study and offer the science of mind, which is a philosophy. And we honor all faiths and all traditions. So no matter who you are, where you've been, where you're going, anything about you, please know that you are welcome here. As I mentioned, we teach a philosophy called the science of mind, and it's teaching based on new thought and ancient wisdom. And we offer spiritual tools and principles to promote personal growth, such as our opening spiritual mind treatment. And as I mentioned, we honor diversity in all aspects so that we can see and appreciate the great oneness that already exists everywhere and within everyone. When Dr. Ernest Holmes was asked to provide a concise definition of the science of mind teaching, he had replied that it is a correlation of laws of science, opinions of philosophy, and revelations of religion replied to human needs and aspirations. So if you have any questions or comments, you can either post them online wherever you are watching the replay, or chat with me in person, or send me a direct email and I'll be sure to respond. So let's explore the relationship that we have with those closest to us and those furthest from us, and how we are shaped by how each of us understands and relates to the collective we. There can be no wonder or peace if we hold contempt and distrust for the collective we. This week, our focus is the relationship we have with our friends, family, and community. And this includes those that we know personally, as well as those that we encounter and refer to as strangers. How we relate to each stranger we encounter through a nod, a wave, eye contact is an opportunity to make connections and build community, even when we may never see them again. But by our paths crossing, our lives and theirs have been changed. And how we approach these encounters reveals more about us than it does about them. What may begin as wondering about another shifts to being in wonder and awe about just how wonderful it is to be in a relationship with another, even if it lasted just long enough to hold the door open for them. To reword the quote by William J. Toms, be careful how you live and show up. You may be the only science of mind verse or affirmation that some person ever reads and experiences. Before I moved here, I was on vacation and stayed at a friend's house while they went to visit their family for Christmas and New Year's Day. I went out on New Year's Eve and lost the key to get into the apartment building. Lucky for me, the neighbor arrived home shortly after I did and let me into the building. And the next day, they lent me their key to go and have another one cut. But being New Year's Day, very few places were open. But I did find a shopkeeper that spoke English, and he directed me to 2 possible locksmiths. The second location I stopped at was the one that was open. I was so grateful that I went back to the original shop to thank the storekeeper. And on my way back, I stopped at another store and bought a shirt. Well, it turned out that this lady was the mother of the first storekeeper. His name is Jorge, and we are now friends on Facebook. And I always stop in to say hi when I'm in the neighborhood, as well as stopping in to say hi to his mom in her store. We've become friends. In the Science of Mind textbook, Ernest Holmes wrote this: I am never alone, never lonely, for I have as companions and friends those people who are drawn to me by the ever active and immutable law of attraction. It is not enough that I profess to love people. I must really love people more dearly than I have ever loved before, because all people are my family. I do not outline who shall be my friends and companions, for there is no desire to coerce, compel, or suggest anyone. I trust implicitly the law of attraction to bring into my environment and atmosphere friends and loved ones, and establish for me a community of interest and helpfulness. As I love and cooperate with my fellow humans, so do they love me and give me their cooperation. The law is motivated to work for me by my love for people. Forgiveness, grace, and compassion need not to be foreign concepts, nor do they need to be witnessed and spoken about only when there was a tragedy such as occurred on October 2nd, 2006 at the West Nickel Mines School. This one-room schoolhouse in the old order Amish community of Nickel Mines, a village in Bart Township, Lancaster County, was launched into the media when a gunman took 10 girls aged 6 to 13 as hostage. He then shot 8 of them, killing 5, before killing himself in the schoolhouse. It is easy to envision the Amish community feeling hatred for the man who perpetrated this act of violence. And yet, on the day of the shooting, a grandfather of one of the Amish girls was heard warning some young relatives not to hate the killer, saying instead, "We must not think evil of this man." Another Amish father noted, "He had a mother and a wife and a soul, and now he's standing before a just God." Jack Meyer, a member of the Brethren community living near the Amish in Lancaster County, explained, "I don't think there's anybody here that wants to do anything but forgive, and not only reach out to those who have suffered a loss in that way, but to reach out to the family of the man who committed these acts." A Roberts family spokesman said an Amish neighbor comforted the Roberts family hours after the shooting and extended forgiveness to them. Amish community members visited and comforted Robert's widow, parents, and parents-in-law. One Amish man held Robert's sobbing father in his arms, reportedly for as long as an hour, to comfort him. The Amish have also set up a charitable fund for the family of the shooter. About 30 members of the Amish community attended his funeral, and Marie Roberts, the widow of the killer, was one of the few outsiders invited to the funeral of one of the victims. Marie Roberts wrote an open letter to her Amish neighbors, thanking them for their forgiveness, grace, and mercy. She wrote, "Your love for our family has helped to provide the healing we so desperately needed. Gifts you've given have touched our hearts in a way no words can describe. Your compassion has reached beyond our family, beyond our community, and is changing our world. And for this, we sincerely thank you." This story demonstrates that it is possible to see beyond the veils of hate, animosity, othering, and separation. Ernest Holmes wrote this: "Love is the only final security in the universe. Love is the greatest healing power in the universe, the only thing that binds people together in a community of spirit." And there's still a great deal of rugged individualism and the paradigms that cause us to believe and live as if it is only about what we do individually in this teaching that matters. Some fervently believe that Centers for Spiritual Living and the philosophy of science of mind has nothing to do with changing the world, only changing our individual selves. This paradigm is outdated and ineffective in creating a world that works for all. If it was solely about our individual selves, we would not need to gather in our spiritual communities. We would be content to remain on our individual islands of consciousness. In a practical sense, we understand our interdependence with others, since most of us do not make our own clothing, grow our own food, etc. Yin does not exist alone, nor does yang. It takes both to represent divine harmony, synergy, and creation. Yeshua surrounded himself with 12 disciples, whom he taught to go out into the world to continue the work of elevating consciousness, feeding the poor and healing the sick. All 13 of them did their work individually and collectively out in the communities they visited. Ernest Holmes wrote this: every person is an incarnation of God, and since each person is an individual, everyone is a unique incarnation. We have seen and perhaps even experienced the concept of it takes a village. If you have children, you probably rely on family, friends, neighbors, and teachers to help with raising your children or caring for each other during this pandemic. During many natural disasters and the multitude of mass shootings, communities will come together to support each other by assisting, caring, and grieving together. It truly takes a village. That's what a community is all about, caring and loving for one another. Ernest Holmes said this in the Science of Mind textbook: my love goes out to everyone in the world. So it's important to share that love, no matter what the background history is. The story of the Good Samaritan reminds us that we are invited and called to serve and help each other. While it is easy to feel overwhelmed with the conditions of our world, we have many ways in which to engage the world that exists around our centers, our homes, our neighborhoods. The Centers for Spiritual Living World Day of Service is one such opportunity we are familiar with, and who said that could not, and who that said that could not easily become a monthly day of service. Each first Saturday of the month, what if as a spiritual community where each center, study group, circle, gathered to be a beneficial presence in the world? The ways in which the communities can be engaged in are endless. The stretch is to reach out and relate to those who may not really or readily think of relating to. Here's a quote from the Bible. Jesus said to him, "Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with thy whole heart, and with thy whole soul, and with thy whole mind. And the second is like to this, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments dependeth the whole law and the prophets." So we must come together as the we. The moment we really understand that everyone is an individualized expression of God, it calls us into deeper understanding and practice of how we relate to each expression of the one. It calls us to greater compassion and a more convicted practice, which is what Yeshua instructed his disciples to do in Matthew chapter 25. I'd like to read verses 35 to 40 for you. In 35, it says, "For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in." 36, "I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you visited me." 37, "Then the righteous will answer him, 'Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink?' 38, when did we see you a stranger and take you in, or naked and clothed you?" 39, when did we see you sick or in prison and visit you?" And finally, 40, and the king will reply, "Truly, I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers of mine, you did for me." There's a song by Don Gibson, Jim Reeves, and Steve Gibson, sung by Jim Reeves, called "A Stranger is Just a Friend You Do Not Know." And it goes like this: "If ever your life is lonely, if ever you're feeling low, there's one thing you must remember: a stranger's just a friend you do not know. I'll pass along this way just one time only, a sweeping moment in eternity. Why should I spend my life alone and lonely if just a word of friendship is the key? A warm smile can bring me true love. A warm heart can make it so. There's no need for being lonely. A stranger's just a friend you do not know. No matter where you go, of this you can be sure: a stranger's just a friend you do not know." So remember this quote. There are no strangers here, only friends you haven't yet met. A world that works for all requires a level of consciousness that has never existed before, because the world that we live in now has never before existed as it does now. Never before have so many people on the planet had the news, mass information, and an abundance of social connections readily available on the mini computers, smartphones, that are carried around with us every day. This oversaturation of media has never been before. And if we are to manifest a new world that works, then we must evolve into a new consciousness, a consciousness that calls us into deeper levels of connection, in person and via technology. In a world where the pandemic pushed us farther apart physically, we came together digitally in creative and powerful ways. Today, we are called to connect with others in new and powerful ways. Communicate, collaborate, cooperate with others in wonderful and meaningful ways that nurture, empower, recognize, and engage ourselves with one another because of the unconditional, immutable, irrefutable, and irresistible power of love. And I'll leave you with these words from John Donne. No man is an island entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. And that brings us to our affirmation for the week. I celebrate the we, which is intimately one with itself. And so now it's our time for mindful giving and financial support of our spiritual home. We rely on your support to continue our center here in Puerto Vallarta so that we can continue offering this powerful teaching of the science of mind. And we bless the financial gifts that you give today. Every donation is greatly appreciated, whether it's $5 or $50, or even just the cost of a cup of coffee. Donations can be made using PayPal through our website. And I'll share that with you. It is www.cslpv.org. When you arrive on the landing page, in the middle, you'll see a donate button. And when you click on it, it will transfer you to your PayPal account so that you can make your donation in whichever manner you choose. Alternatively, if you prefer to write out a paper check, you can do so and address it to CSLPV number 403, 2125 Birch Road, Kelowna, BC, B1Y8N1. And so now if you'd like to join me in our offertory affirmations. I know that my giving blesses and multiplies. All that I am, all that I have, and all that I give and receive. I do give eternal thanks for the abundance that is mine to share. So if you would like to have a one-on-one connection for spiritual mind treatment to assist you with your emotions or change or whatever you are experiencing in life or would like to experience more of, please connect with me. And if you'd like to commit to being a member of the Center for Spiritual Living Puerto Vallarta for this year, or if you would like to be on our upcoming Board of Trustees, please contact me so that you can be sent the current forms. And I'd like to remind you to subscribe and like our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. If you are interested in learning more about the Science Mind teaching, we recently offered the course, Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life, which was held online. And this course will be offered again in late September or early October. Connect with me or check on our website to find out the details. And let me know if there is another course or workshop or book study that you would be interested in taking. And we can plan dates for those as well. And let's continue with practicing peace. We can each be a force for peace and nonviolence. Our words and our actions can create ripples of peace all around us and beyond. Peaceful living includes acting with compassion, kindness, and consideration. And it also includes standing up against injustice. May peace and love be with you. Thank you for coming and sharing this time together. Peace and blessings to all. Namaste.